Hola familias! This is the third of 3 videos that I was recording for you, showing you how the various tools work in classes, Spanish classes this year with Señora Mothes. This video is about our class website, which is basically a library full of resources and things that we've done in class, additional resources, helpful tips, all sorts of different resources and extra material that can be a benefit for your student. Since this is a Google site, it is within the fcpsschools.net login, which means this information is not directly accessible to parents, but it is definitely a resource that you can access with your student. So let me show you what you can find there. This is the homepage of the class website for all classes with Señora Mothes this year. You can see this is the homepage that we're at right here, and prominently featured on every page is the link to the information about office hours. If you watched my video about 24/7 Blackboard, this is the same information that is shared there for families, but this is just shared for students from the classroom website. And this link about signing up for upcoming office hours is accessible to students. There's information here about what to expect from office hours, and then across the bottom there's the weekly sign up where students can sign up for an appointment or just come and drop in when there's a yellow block of time on the calendar. No appointment would be needed. Also on the homepage, I try to feature either something that celebrates a cultural aspect or some student work. Right now, I have the slides that students did to introduce themselves for the school year. Across the top are the ways to navigate. So for example, if I'm in Spanish 2, I can click on the Spanish 2 tab. It will link to the agenda and lesson for the day, Spanish 2 specific resources, Maña Musical. This is actually my Spotify music playlist because I do use target language music in class, and again, the office hours link with Señora Mothes. On here also, students will be able to link to their classroom directories for their appropriate class period. So if, for example, they're trying to connect with a peer, either because they wanted to study or because they're working on a group project, they have that information at their fingertips. This is also the third place where students can find the embedded calendars, which will help them understand when work is coming up and acts as a tool to access any past classes or resources. Also underneath the Spanish 2 tab is the page of Spanish 2 specific resources. Here on this page, students have easy access to review their Spanish verbs that they learned in Spanish 1, and easy access to a shared folder where they have my copies of any of the grammar notes that they've had in class. They should have access to these as well on their own personal Google Drive, but if it isn't organized or if they have trouble finding what they need, they can always access anything they need from this shared folder. And the same thing with vocabulary lists. These also should be already on their own personal Google Drive, but if not, they can be accessed here. Then, as we cover topics throughout the year, I will be archiving and curating specific resources that will be helpful for students. Things that are new to them this year in Spanish 2 are always marked with a star. As we continue to study new topics, I will be continuing to add more resources here for students to study on their own, to get additional repetition, or just to hear an alternate explanation for a different topic. Next across the top is the Tech Help tab. This is a great opportunity if students need help understanding, for example, how to make special marks. Almost all of the students in my class have already done this, But if your student doesn't understand how to make those special marks that we need for Spanish language, there's lots of opportunities here for students to choose which one they feel most comfortable with to use on their device. This link also here has easy access to all sorts of resources for general technology troubleshooting. All of these are also available in other places for our students, but I shared them here as well to hopefully make this a rich and robust resource for my students. Next across the top is a link to all sorts of general resources. So these are resources that I recommend to not only my Spanish 2 students, but also my Spanish 4 students. So while students are always encouraged to find resources that work best for them, these are some curated suggestions that I have to practice easy and fun ways, or to just really help them work on repetitions so that they are able to get their grammar concepts down and be able to produce them with great ease and accuracy. I have my link here from the beginning of the year about Senora Mothes. If students want to access that, they can. This is for my students in advisory. I also have links here to the Sociedad Honoraria Hispánica, which is the Honor Society for Spanish students at Oakton High School, as well as Crochet for Help, which is another club I sponsor, and Proyecto Aula Global, the Global Classroom Project, which is a project between Oakton High School and a school in Cochabamba, Bolivia. That is also accessible here from this classroom, from the class website. And then underneath the More tab, these are just some fun ways that we've started class in the past months that I've archived here if students want to access them for any reason. This is just to show you a sample where it says on here agenda and lesson. This button accesses one of the daily pages where all of the content for any particular class is archived. So this includes the goals, the agenda, all of the files that I used to present during class that day, as well as the recorded Blackboard Collaborate session, any copies of notes that students were responsible for that day, any activities that students were responsible for on any given day. It reiterates the homework and also just has a reminder for students to check Google Classroom and to see me for office hours. So I create one of these pages each day for my classes I teach on any given day, and it is just an opportunity for students to go back and review, either if they want to review what we've done during class or that they feel like they need that extra repetition, or if they miss a class so that they really have an opportunity to see everything that they were, that students were a part of that day so that they can be prepared and ready for the next class time that we meet. Thank you so much for listening and for taking the tour of the classroom website with me. Again, my hope is that these are tools that are very helpful for your students and that you as family members are able to help guide your student or ask your student if they are feeling confused or lost, that this should be an opportunity where you all can look at this together and hopefully feel more confident about what is going on in class and what is coming up in the future. All of that to say, I am here to help you and to guide you and to be a partner with you during this connected learning time period. We're all getting better at this after having one quarter completed, but I know this is not necessarily how any of us would prefer to do learning. So again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen and for everything that you're doing to support your student to be their very best Spanish student and very best person. I'm very grateful for having them in my class, and I look forward to seeing them in the future. Thanks so much. Ciao! So now you've had a tour of our class website, and as you can see, it's full of all sorts of resources for students to practice grammar concepts. It is a way for them to access our class grammar notes, our class vocabulary lists. It's also a resource if they are looking for help with tech, or if they just are looking for some general resources to help practice Spanish. All of those things are accessible through our classroom website, as well as having the container where we hold the individual lessons and materials covered for each class.